The thing with Imran is that he loves horror. As even an audience, he loves watching horror. So lots of times when I used to be very happy and chirpy, Imran and my director used to make sure they tell me some scary story. They make sure that when I go back home, I'm like, oh my God, there is something. This is for real. And during that scene, I had like my hair all messy because it was a night scene that I've just woken straight out of bed. So everybody scared me that you please don't go anywhere alone because you have your hair open and you're going to attract something. So I literally did not go to my van that entire night because I was so scared if I go downstairs, I'll fall, something will happen to me. We can just kind of keep our faith as much as possible in the judiciary and hope that things get better. As for Shah Rukh, I think I'll always be a fan of his. Nothing changes that.
Hi, this is Amina Sheikh here, and with me today I have the gorgeous, stunning Nikita Dutta, who's working with Emraan Hashmi in the movie called Dybbuk. Welcoming her on ETimes right now.
Thank you, Samina. Thank you for having me.
So, Nikita, tell me about your experience of working in such a scary film.
I think it's honestly, it's been an experience of a lifetime because this was completely out of my comfort zone. I am not somebody who's very comfortable watching horror films, and I don't enjoy watching them so much because it really scares me. So for me to work in one was like a big step I had to take to kind of get out of my entire luxury and comfort zone that I live in. And of course, there was a lot of prep that I had to do, a lot of workshops I had to take to kind of get comfortable with the idea of fear of possession. So that's why I think overall it's been a great learning. At the same time, I think it's made me 10% more brave in reality.
Yeah, but are you personally like scared of such horror films, and what your experience have been so far?
I get very scared, and the funny part is that I have not experienced anything paranormal or any horror activity as such around me in real life. So I've never seen that, experienced that, but I just do still get scared. So watching movies like this, I know for a fact if I've watched a horror film, I'm not going to sleep for the next 1 week. I'm going to be very scared. On top of that, I live alone. So for me, it just gets more difficult. I'm just like, okay, let's just watch happy things. So you're happy, you sleep peacefully.
But have you heard of such like ghost stories in Mumbai or like in India, which have scared you ever?
It's not just Mumbai. I'll be more specific. It's even in our industry. Like when you're shooting, the kind of stories that you hear from all your hair and makeup dadas and didis and, like basically your co-workers who tell you that, oh, in this studio, something like this had gone down. Something happened here about Mukesh Mills, about Kanjur Marg. There's so many stories that you get to hear. So when you're doing night shifts, especially, it gets very scary. Like I have this thing when I'm doing a night shift, I don't even like travel alone. Like even if I'm going from the set to the vanity or something, I need at least 1 or 2 people with me because I'm so scared. So especially when you hear all these stories, first-hand stories, that definitely does have an impact on you. So just by that, I think I have so much fear inside me when it comes to all this.
How many stories have you heard about the Goregaon Film City?
Goregaon Film City, so many. I'll tell you something very funny. Long time ago, I'm talking about 2015, when I was shooting for my first show. We were doing a night shift in Film City. And this is the market area, must have very frequently seen in a lot of films and TV shows. So we were shooting there on a terrace, and the scene was such, it required like a pipe to burst and like water to come on me and my co-actor. While shooting that, some very strange things happened during the night. Like, sadly, our DOP managed to kind of fall off the crane, the camera crane that's there. So he managed to fall off. There was some black cloth that caught fire. So suddenly everybody on set started saying that there is something around. So be careful. And during that scene, I had like my hair all messy because it was a night scene that I've just woken straight out of bed. So my hair was all messy. So everybody scared me that you please don't go anywhere alone because you have your hair open and you're going to attract something. So I literally did not go to my van that entire night because I was so scared if I go downstairs, I'll fall, something will happen to me. So it's just, I think somewhere it's an illusion that people create and then it kind of plays on your mind and you start believing that it is true, it's going to happen. A lot of people say that it also exists and it is there. So these are, I think, just perceptions in our head that we ourselves have to decide.
But while shooting for this movie itself, with Emraan, and the trailer, of course, looks very scary. And when I came for the trailer launch, and those two people who were there, they really scared the shit out of us. So during the trailer launch, also when I saw the trailer, it actually looks like very scary, and it somewhere excites you to watch the film. So when you were working on this project, that time didn't you feel nervous because the way it has been shot? It's itself like you feel like, oh my god, they have really a lot of guts to shoot in such a way.
So that's the, I think, most fun part about working in a horror film. You don't get scared when you're shooting for it. It just doesn't scare you. So that's why I said I've become 10% more brave, because somewhere when you're doing it like work, right? So even though you're into it, at that moment there are also so many people around. You know for a fact that obviously nothing can happen because you're surrounded by people. So it's quite safe, at least mentally. I'll tell you, the tough part is, especially when we were shooting in Mauritius, is when we used to pack up and kind of go back to our respective hotels. That used to be the tough part, because especially it's an island which is like surrounded by sea from everywhere. So even our hotel was like right next to the sea. So so many times when we were doing night shifts, we used to pack up in the middle of the night, 2-3 in the night, and that's when we are going back to the hotel. So there used to be like a long walk from the reception to your room, and that used to be right next to the sea. So all you can hear is the waves. So by the sound of the waves, you're walking all by yourself in the middle of the night. That used to be a really scary part, at least for me. So I used to constantly, like, sometimes I used to be afraid to look behind, like, what if something happens? So anyway, I had one solution. I used to put on my headphones and play the Hanuman Chalisa or the Mrityunjay Jap, because then I used to just feel so safe. I'm like, now if anything happens, I'm safe. Like nothing can happen to me, at least. So these were little tricks that I did. But the tough part was post the shoot. It was not during the shoot.
But also, Nikita, as you said, of course, like, post the shoot, it used to be tough. But how was the experience of working with Emraan? Because he's been part of such scary films and such, ghost stories. So how was your experience of that? Did he try to, spook you in any way?
A lot. So the thing with Emraan is that he loves horror. As even an audience, he loves watching horror. So lots of times when I used to be very happy and chirpy, Emraan and my director used to make sure they tell me some scary story. At times they've cooked up things. At times, I don't know if it's real. They've told me things to scare me out. So then they make sure that when I go back home, I'm like, oh my God, there is something. This is for real. So they would do that on purpose. But I think apart from that, his experience with horror definitely shows he's very comfortable in this kind of a setup with this kind of a story. And he always has some very great inputs to give, especially because this is a genre he's comfortable with. So that works very well. So I think overall, fabulous experience.
In the trailer, we also saw that you have got some different looks when you are actually possessed. So how much time did you take to get that look?
So honestly, every time I am possessed was the easiest for me, because at that time there used to be no makeup at all, and they used to just add a lot of dark circles for me. So in fact, I used to be ready within 5 to 10 minutes. Normally it takes about 40-45 minutes to get ready into your costume. That used to be the quickest. And I used to feel very free because I had absolutely nothing to do. So so that was the quickest bit. It was in fact the easier part.
Wow, that's quite nice. But Nikita, do you somewhere feel that wish if this film would have released in theaters, because now that theaters are opening slowly?
I mean, when we were making it, the idea was a theatrical release. But at the same time, I do feel that at the time, with whatever has gone down in the last 1.5, 2 years, I don't think there's a better option because on priority, I personally feel at the moment, I want to reach out to as many people as possible. Luckily, with Amazon, we have 240 countries that are going to be watching this film. Like the film is going to be accessible to everybody. That may not happen in theaters. So I think at least at the moment, I'm glad that it's more reachable and more people will be able to watch it, whatever the current scenario is.
Talking about your upcoming projects, what is keeping you busy after this?
After this, well, I just wrapped up Bosco's film, Rocket Gang, which is at the moment in post. And there is something else I'm shooting for, which we will talk about later.
And before I let you go, I want to ask, what are your thoughts on the ongoing Aryan Khan's drugs case?
You had to come up with this. No, so, I mean, I'm really hoping law takes its fair course and, brings justice to this boy. At the same time, I don't think, we as people have anything much to say because whatever's going is all in front of everybody. We can just kind of keep our faith as much as possible in the judiciary and hope that things get better. As for Shah Rukh, I think I'll always be a fan of his. Nothing changes that.
Of course, you have like your own good moments, like while working.
Yes. So the thing with Shah Rukh is I think everybody has their own, Shah Rukh moment. Off late, I don't know if you saw on Twitter, everybody was discussing their Shah Rukh moment where he's been just the charming person he is. Even I have my Shah Rukh moment.
And what is it?
So I've had that moment where I got to work with him and he has really charmed me just by his personality, just by his way of working. So I think that was the time when I became like an ardent fan of his and I said, oh my God, I want to actually work in a film with him someday. So irrespective of whatever's happening on this side, that doesn't change.
Don't you also feel that like men like him are quite rare currently?
Yeah, very rare. That chivalrous, that good-hearted. He's a man with a golden heart. I've seen him working very dedicated, very, very dedicated. I think it just inspires you, especially at a very start of my career. I got a chance to do a small little thing with him on stage. So I kind of got to see the process that he goes through before actually coming in front of the audience and his entire working process. And it was, I think somewhere that is so motivating as somebody who's starting fresh. Also, when you see somebody of that level kind of being so down to earth, working, giving his best, it kind of really inspires you at the most.
So thank you so much for your lovely interview, Nikita, and all the very best. I'm definitely watching this film. And if you have to say something to your fans, please go ahead.
I would just want to say that, there's no better way to bring in Halloween than by watching my film Dybbuk on Amazon Prime Video. So do watch it. If you love horror, then make sure you watch it in the night with all your lights off. If you're scared like me, then watch it during the daytime with people around, but do watch it.
Thank you so much, Nikita, and all the very best, and hope to see you soon.
Thank you, Samina. Bye-bye.